Hello, friends. The 1,069 days of the war between Russia and Ukraine continues. Russian troops have captured Velyka Novosilka in the Donetsk region. This is reported by Ukrainian military telegram channels and soldiers of the Ukrainian Armed Forces themselves on social networks. Russians are publishing videos with their flags in different parts of the village, including its center. The Russian Defense Ministry said on Sunday that it had been captured. However, the Ukrainian Armed Forces have not yet officially confirmed their complete withdrawal from Velyka Novosilka. The spokesman for the Kortitsia group, Trigubov, insists that Ukrainian troops are holding several positions in the village. In order to avoid encirclement of Ukrainian forces in the southern part of the village, they were withdrawn from there. Ukrainian forces are holding some positions within the village, but this is closer to its outskirts, Trigubov said today. He added that as of today, Russian troops have occupied a significant part of Velyka Novosilka. The authorities voiced approximately the same position yesterday, when there were already reports of the complete loss of the village. After which the military telegram channel Deep State refuted the command's position and stated that, judging by the video we are publishing, the settlement had already been completely captured by the Russians. Perhaps this is the first time in our memory that someone is officially holding something, and the Russians are marching through the settlement with flags and launching fireworks, said the Ukrainian Deep State, and added that lies will destroy us all. After the news of the loss of the strategically important settlement, Zelensky dismissed the commander of the Kortitsia group, Natov, who was transferred to a position in the general staff. Instead, the head of the ground forces, Dnipropetrovsk, who is known as the ambulance for particularly problematic areas, was sent to lead the group. From which it follows that everything is really bad with Velyka Novosilka. However, the loss of the settlement, which for a long time was one of the key defense nodes of the Ukrainian Armed Forces on the southern front, was predetermined the week before last. On January 17, it became known that Vremivka had fallen to the west of Velyka Novosilka, which was thus almost completely blocked. At the same time, the Russians entered the village itself and began to push the Ukrainian armed forces out of there. And all military analysts predicted the imminent fall of this fortified area. Therefore, the main question now is what could be the strategy of the Russian army after the capture of Velyka Novosilka. The main danger for the Ukrainian troops is that the Russians will be able to develop an offensive from there further to the west in the rear of the main defensive lines of the Ukrainian armed forces. And the same situation will be repeated as after the fall of Ocheretyne in April 2024, when the Russians were able to enter the rear of the fortified areas of the Ukrainian troops and bypass them from the west, capturing Karlivka, Ukrainsk and Hirnyk, where the Ukrainian armed forces had previously prepared to repel Russian attacks from the east. From Velyka Novosilka to Zaporizhzhia is practically a straight line 125 kilometers long. And to the south of it remain Huliaipole, Orikhiv and other main fortified areas of Ukrainian troops on the southern front. Despite the fact that, as the military states, there are practically no serious fortifications in the steppe regions in the area from the western border of the Donetsk region to the Dnipro, although the authorities from time to time publish videos of the construction of fortifications. Naturally, in order to develop a further offensive to the west, the Russians need, firstly, significant reserves. Secondly, the offensive must be carried out on a broad front in order to avoid flank attacks. And such an offensive, in fact, is already underway. If you look at the deep state map in dynamics for the last months, you will see the progressive movement of the Russians in the direction of the Dnipropetrovsk and Zaporizhzhia regions along a wide arc from Pokrovsk to Velyka Novosilka. And the dynamics of the Russian advance here is significantly higher than in other directions, which indicates either problems with the lines of defense of the Ukrainian armed forces or a significant concentration of Russian forces, or both taken together. By the way, as far as Pokrovsk is concerned, as can be seen from the map, the main efforts of the Russians in recent months have been made not to storm the city itself, but to bypass it from the west with a movement vector both to the north, with the aim of cutting off the Pokrovsk-Pavlohrad road and towards the border of the Dnipropetrovsk region. That is, the Russians are leaving Pokrovsk in their rear, gradually cutting off its communications and creating a bridgehead for movement to the west. Of course, the Russians still have a long way to go to Dnipro and Zaporizhzhia, 140 and 120 kilometers, respectively. And it is unknown whether they have enough reserves for this and what forces the Ukrainian army has to contain the offensive. Although it is clear that, given the potential threat, the Ukrainian command will try to transfer the necessary forces here to stop the Russian advance on the border of the Dnipropetrovsk and Zaporizhzhia regions. Zaporizhzhia and Dnipro are the largest logistics and industrial centers, and their loss will actually break the logistics of the armed forces of Ukraine on a significant part of the front. However, there is a question: will the Russian command consider this direction as a priority? Or will it reduce the pressure here and direct its main efforts and reserves to seizing the northern part of the Donetsk region in the areas of Sloviansk, Kramatorsk, Druzhkivka, Konstantinivka, Svetohirsk, and Lyman? If Russia chooses the latter option, then this will be a great success for the armed forces of Ukraine. While the Russians will slowly and with great losses advance through the rivers and forests of the north of Donbass, where the theater of military operations is extremely difficult for an offensive and convenient for defense, the Ukrainian army will be able to prepare the Zaporizhzhia and Dnipropetrovsk regions for defense. But, I repeat, for now Russia's greatest advance is precisely in the direction of Zaporizhzhia and Dnipro. And the pressure here is not weakening yet. Friends, I understand that the duration of events is becoming less relevant for you, but for me the situation is only getting worse. Those who have been with me for a long time know that preparing reports on this channel has become my main job, and I have no other job for obvious reasons. Lately, the channel has had few views, so I ask for your help. If you have the opportunity to support me with a cup of coffee, I will be very grateful. Thank you very much for understanding, and see you in the next video.